Yesterday, Maharashtra reported more than 5,000 cases of coronavirus. But what comes as a surprise is that Dharavi, known as the largest slum cluster of Asia, reported just one case. Is this a success story? We will know in this video. I have Harsha Bhatt with me. Hello, Harsha.
Hi, Nishta. See, like you mentioned, it is reassuring to know that one of the densely populated areas of the world, which was almost being called a ticking bomb when the first fatality was announced, is returning to normal. Because Dharavi, as you said, is not just a locality; it is a microcosm of the larger phenomenon called Mumbai. Because this region is not only Asia's most crowded slum, it also is the hub of countless small-scale enterprises from food to leather to you name it. It's almost like a SEZ of the poor, or say the largest model of Atmanirbharta, because you name it, they make it. So imagine in say a 2 square kilometer area, you have estimated 6 to 7 lakh people who live, earn, dwell all in less than an arm's distance from each other. So imagining social distancing here is almost like a nightmare. And the density is 3.6 lakh people per square kilometer. So if we go back to the first victim itself, he had 8 family members in a 400 square feet house. And in another, he had accommodated 10 people who had been to the Tablighi Jamaat in Delhi in a vacant house. And he himself has visited the mosque, the neighborhood. So you get the gist. 74 people were his primary contacts. So it was almost being seen as a ticking bomb.
Yes, true. Actually, when first case was reported, everyone was worried that now this will lead to an outbreak. But the declining trends are really assuring. So when these trends became to be come under control?
See, from 1st April, when the area saw its first fatality, to yesterday, where just one positive case was reported, it's a huge positive leap. But it's too early to see it as a victory. Let's not call it a victory because the numbers in other parts of Mumbai aren't really anything to be pleased about. Now, the decline began around a month ago. So, by the first week of June, one saw the numbers come down to double digits, and also the doubling time reduced drastically. So, like in April, the doubling time was 18 days. It came down to 43 in May and 78 in June. So, the numbers reached a peak in May when the area saw 1,216 positive cases and 56 deaths. But as of yesterday, there are just 352 cases, active ones, and in July, in the last 7 8 days, it's only been 67 cases. And the fatality count for Dharavi in June was zero. Now, that tells a lot about the system that evolved to arrest what else could have been the largest health disaster in the country. Now, let's look at this in parts. Firstly, and the most important or the most impactful has been the effective and aggressive on ground handling. So, testing, for instance, they did a comprehensive and aggressive testing. They went door to door screening was done, covering almost 50,000 people in the first few days itself. Strict containment measures. So, you can imagine these 7 lakh people in 2 square kilometer areas to be all put there and ensure that they stayed there. And most importantly, ensuring supplies of essentials to the isolated group of people and ensuring they stay put. Like, for instance, when unlock one has happened, or in other parts of the country where people are moving out, is because they're not finding their basic essentials supplied to them. So what does a person do even if he's in home quarantine? There are cases where people are breaking and are genuinely asking is, how do we access basic essentials? So not many states have put these systems in place, but here in this little microcosm, volunteers, groups of local NGOs and the BMC put this system in place so people could stay put. So I can take you through the journey in detail. What Dharavi did right. Okay, within a first week of its fatality, it converted a sports complex into a 300 bed facility overnight. So just look at the numbers. These and these field hospitals have proven to be the magic formula. I think there are a few thousand more bed field hospitals that were launched today and yesterday in Maharashtra also. So by 8th April, that is like a week from the first fatality, 5,000 people had already been quarantined. So while at one end they practically shut down everything, like they sanitized the entire stretch, no shops could be open, no vendors could enter, and see, there are two kind of structures in the slum. One is there are 2 3 storied buildings, and then there are shanties. So you can seal down these 2 3 storied buildings. So you can't seal down the shanties. So from the shanties, the patients were moved immediately to isolation centers if they tested positive or were symptomatic, and this led to the isolation center almost being chock-a-block in a month. But I think by end of May or June, almost there were hardly any cases there because these people had all recovered. And the other factor was the common sanitation facilities are used there. You see, one toilet is being used by 200 people, were some estimates. So all these were sanitized. Schools and halls in the vicinity were all turned into quarantine centers. And by mid-April, that is like say in 2 weeks from the first fatality, 47,500 people were tested. 20% turned positive, and immediately these 20% were all quarantined. So you can see that that part of the immediate action, doing the right things at the right time, is what helped the curb initially.
Yes. So, what we see is that these are little rays of hope, because Maharashtra yesterday only crossed the China's official count of positive number of cases. Also,
So,
the active number of
Nishtara,
cases.
before we forget, the other thing is not just what they did, but also what worked for them. See, there's the factor of migrant population that we have to talk about, because Dharavi also hosts a lot of people that come into the city every day. Around a lakh to 2.5 is the number of migrant workers who are said to have left Dharavi for their hometowns during the lockdown period, which means these numbers, even if they were positive, would not be reported against Dharavi. And one key important thing, like I mentioned earlier, was the private public partnership. In Bangalore, for instance, there are so many private hospitals which are complaining that they do not have staff. Some of them are unwilling to admit patients. But here, private doctors and an association of medical practitioners came together, joined hands with the municipal authorities. And this team of doctors, which is, and some members of the IMA and the BMC, went screening people. So they put mobile vans in place, volunteers went screening people. So extremely aggressive screening was done, but not without the cooperation of private medical practitioners. And eventually, I think around 300 private practitioners also opened their clinics, which could also function as fever clinics. So on one hand, when these were going to the people who may have the virus, they were also encouraging people to come out and report. So people who were initially very apprehensive of being positive began accessing the clinics and reporting. So that way, that is another key important angle. But like you said, of course, it is a ray of hope, but too early to be celebrating. You see, monsoon has just hit the city, and Dharavi has always been notorious for even other infectious diseases, respiratory disorders, and with the rains, there's a threat of malaria and dengue, like in other parts of city. And Maharashtra continues, like you said, the numbers of beating China. It continues to top the chart of COVID affected states in the country. And Mumbai is among the top again. And even within Mumbai, a lot of areas, Andheri, Dadar, Mahim, Malad, you see the cases are rising. So, although it is a very good example of having done the right things at the right time, it is certainly not the reason to let guard down.
Okay. Thanks, Harsha, for your insights, and we hope that Maharashtra government continues to fight against COVID, and not just restricted to Dharavi, but the whole Mumbai and other cities which have become an hotspot, they will be controlled.
We at Swarajya are working towards creating more exclusive videos, podcasts, and analysis for our Swarajya Patreon subscribers. We've added a link in that description, and you can go ahead and support us for as little as $4.99 on a monthly basis. We look forward to your support. Keep watching, keep supporting Swarajya.